Hey, well, welcome to another episode of Uncle Ricky's House. The question, well, the question is for this show is how old is too old? Referring to the rapidly rising average age of our Senate and Congress, the people that make the laws that determine how we live, and the rising age of the presidents and the justices on the Supreme Court. And there are, I guess you could say, anecdotal incidents, because I don't know how much empirical data there is on the subject, but anecdotal incidents that are of a number that should be of concern for all three branches of the government, where there are members that have reached, late 70s, 80s, approaching their 90s, and don't step down, and their judgment becomes questionable in cases of, serious implications. Also, like in the case of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, her illness affected the decisions that came out of the Supreme Court because she was absent a lot, and then just when when her health was when there was no question about which direction she was headed, and she refused to step down, and that opened the door for the three Klansmen. I shouldn't say that. The three Supreme Court justices that Trump shoved down everybody's throat. Old age affects individuals at different rates, but when you reach your 80s, how effective can you be? And I hate to say it, I'm going to more than likely, unless something changes, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden in the next election. And it's not because Joe Biden is such a great candidate, or I feel like he's going to do that much for me. My vote for Joe Biden is because of what he's not going to do to me. It's sad that it has come down to that we don't have any better options, because America has become a playground for, no matter what side you're on, for the octogenarians. And I'm not saying, because I'm headed in that direction myself, and I hope that I would get the respect that I'm due, or I think that I'm due, when I get there, if I get there. But my point is this: I know at my age, at 65, that okay, mentally, I may not be as sharp as I was. Physically, I know I'm not as sharp as I was, if I ever was. And all of these, when certain levels of leadership, maybe not so much the physical part, but the mental acuity has got to be there to make the decisions that have to be made at the moment's notice in a situation, that are sharp enough to be able to compromise with with people of different viewpoints, to come up with meaningful legislation that will benefit the majority of the people most of the time. And our Congress and our Senate are not at this point, irregardless of the partisan, the hyperbolic partisan politics that has invaded our legislative branch. Age itself is a handicap. Right now, Feinstein just came back, and it's a question of if she's mentally competent. She doesn't even know when she's supposed to just say yes or no, or make a speech on the floor of the Senate during the vote. And her aide actually had to, on camera, whisper into her ear to snap her back to reality. I don't even know if he snapped her back to reality, but basically to tell her what to say. That's a danger within itself. If she's just there, if she's not mentally capable of making her own decisions, she's just a mouthpiece for whatever somebody whispers in her ear, but her vote still counts towards a decision that's going to, whether negative or positive, is going to impact the future of this country. That's not fair to the people. You know, she's done great service to the state of California. She's done great service to the country. But there is a point where the value of her service does not meet the requirement or allow her to be there into infinity. You know, in Congress, we have, it's like 80. I'm sorry, 56 is the median age. The median age, the average age in the Senate is 51. But there's like 5 or 6 congressmen that are in their 80s. And you say, well, there's 400 and some congressional representatives. True. But these people have been there so long that they sit on and are the chairman or senior representative for the party, the minority party, that their influence, still has a great impact on the outcome of the laws of this country, and through illness and mental disability, you got to question. Maybe that can explain why we're in such a this country's in such a mess right now, because our leaders have just gotten too old. Presidents, we have video evidence of Trump being lost at several world summits. Just looking around out in nowhere. Joe, he fell up the steps. He tripped. Trump couldn't walk down the ramp. Joe tripped over a bag of cement supposedly at the Air Force graduation. It's just it's a total mess. And poor Mitch, man. Mitch better get some help, or he gonna hurt himself or somebody. I hope that cat ain't driving, freezing up like that. But I have seen videos of him recently, still driving. So maybe I should consider no more driving for you, Mitch. I don't know, but just freezing up like somebody just blasted you with double line of Peruvian snowflake. That's not good. That's indications of a lot of things that people with no medical degrees don't want to have to run through their mind, because we'll probably come up with the wrong diagnosis and it'll just be a disaster. I'm not saying I would worry about you, but it might be a reverse situation of Joe Biden. You're evil, Mitch, but you are a slight, barometer into the right direction of sanity for your party. But if you go, it's yard out. The Republican Party is going to just go insane. They'll go full fascist in the Senate and the Congress, and it's going to be a disaster. So, Mitch, as much as I despise you, I'd like to see you stay around for just a wee bit longer until the election, maybe, hopefully. This whole thing with the age. I mean, the presidential race. Biden, if he wins, and like I said, I'm going to vote for Biden because that's the only the choice. It's because I don't understand why Trump still has a chance, but as it grows, as the day goes by, it seems that the Republican Party is determined to push the issue. And even though everybody is in the background is starting to admit, yeah, we know Trump lied, we know it was lying in the beginning, but we just had to play it up because that's our man. I mean, not that he's our man, but he represents everything that we don't want to say for ourselves. Y'all can beat on Trump, we're just he just happens to be a Republican, but that's not really how we roll. And I mean, to back that up, but then you got to look at people like Ron DeSantis, who is fading faster than a lead weight in a swimming pool. He's thinking his campaign is done, and he deserves it because of all the foolish things he's done in Florida. Nothing he's done in Florida has come out to the positive good of Floridians. Just look at the history of Florida during his little dictator reign as governor of Florida. People are moving out of Florida. Florida is losing tourism, major tourists. Disney ain't the only one. I mean, Disney's deal was the one that got torn apart, but other tourist attractions are looking at it like, well, you know what? If they did Disney like that, what's going to stop them when we have to stand up for something? Because the way they're doing people is dirty, and it's not. If we don't speak up, it's going to help us to speak up, because this is why we're losing customers, because they don't like the racist and the bigoted and the misogynistic attitude of the state of Florida, that are promoted by the government. So they're not coming. So if we don't stand up for what is right, which might not be what is white in this case, then we cutting our own throat. But this fool going, if he's still the governor, which Florida, as long as he might see that he's thinking as president, so he might go back and try to extend the get rid of the term limits on governor, so he become the Florida dictator for real. But this is where people get seated, and I'm not saying it's extreme as DeSantis, but if he has his way, DeSantis could become an old man as the governor of Florida. Probably Florida would have to succeed from the union by itself, but we don't know. But this tendency of supporting, we understand, I guess, you got to look at the doctrine of wisdom. Age and wisdom is together, and of course we already discriminate against youth because you have age. You have to be a certain age to run for Congress. I think you have to be 30 to run for 30 to run for Senate. Congress, I guess it's up to I guess it must be something like 25. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. So it's somewhere around there, because I remember Madison Cawthorn was the youngest congressperson, but I think he was actually 23. I'm not sure. I got to look that up. But on the top end, you can stay there till they wheel you out, or wheel you into the rotunda if you get that lucky. I don't, if you deserve that much, I don't know. But every other thing that helps run this government, all the bureaucratic positions, there's usually mandatory retirement ages on bureaucratic administration. One that frees up, positions, people who work themselves in, upward mobility and all that. Attrition, keep the machine, running. Always input for the output. There's you use it. There's always going to be output. There's always going to be breakdowns. You gotta have cogs to plug into the wheel. But at the elected level, it's as long as they keep winning, they keep coming back into infinity. And it seems that the older they get, some of them get more and more entrenched into their districts, and people. It's automatic. I mean, after the fourth or fifth term, go to so Grassley, yeah, boom. It doesn't matter that he's 3,006 years old. It's just, I guess, muscle memory, some automatic reaction like that. You're well trained, brainwashed, and that's it. And it happens in both parties. The Kennedys, Ted especially, benefited from that when he was the senator from Massachusetts. But old people tend to lose efficiency, and at that level of government, we need 100. Just like we need transparency, we need efficiency, we need quick thinkers, we need thorough thinkers. There should be age limits. Nobody should be sitting up in the White House in a diaper, wondering whether he had fried chicken or oatmeal. Well, that's all I got to say. Y'all can think about it. Talk about it with me on Thursday when, Uncle Ricky's House Live YouTube, Thursday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Hope you show up. Join the Super Chat so we can go back and forth on a lot of different things. Till then, as always, peace out and God bless. And don't worry about getting old. Everybody gets old. But just remember that sometimes when you get old, you just got to step aside. It's kind of biblical too. Check it for yourself. Peace out. God bless from Uncle Ricky's House.